Google just announced three new site experience ranking metrics, and they're called Core Web Vitals. And today we're talking about the first one. Today we have with us Deepak Mankani, who is the SEO expert at Merkle India. Hi Deepak, what are these core vital metrics and what is the most important one of them?
Hi, Umang. Like we discussed about the fact that Core Web Vitals, a new three set of metrics, has launched by Google in our last video, we are going to pick up the first one today, and which is largest contentful paint, also known as LCP. So, to give you a background, I think everyone will be able to relate to what LCP is. Imagine that you opened a website and you're waiting for several minutes for the site to load, and you just can't, load it because it's taking, a lot of time. Uh, that particular problem is called a largest contentful paint. So a situation where a user has to wait for a very long time for the content to load is called the largest contentful paint. Uh, as a benchmark, Google suggests that the largest contentful paint should not be more than 2.5 seconds, which means the largest piece of content on your website should not take more than 2.5 seconds to load. And we are talking about a visual loading, which means something should be ready for a user to interact when the page is opened up.
Got it. So, how do you make sure that you don't have this issue? And if you do have it, how is it affecting your actual business metrics?
Sure. So let's talk about how does it affect first. I think as a user, and based on a study that Google recently did, 60 to 70% of the users do not wait for a site that takes more than 2 or 3 seconds to load. So number one, it directly impacts the way user interacts with your brand. And because your bounce rate, becomes very higher if you have a large contentful paint issue, then eventually you will have impact not only on your organic ranking but also on your paid media return on investments. It impacts brand at a overall level, not just the user experience but also in the overall media proposition.
Got it. So, how do you fix this issue? What tools are available or what strategies should brand keep in mind?
Sure. So this is where it'll get a bit technical, but we'll try to keep it as simple as we can. The things that developer and site owners should be looking at is using a very strong hosting, making sure that the hosting provider is secure, it's is able to cope up with the bandwidth, cope up with the amount of traffic that you are receiving on your site. So a strong bandwidth is absolutely required. The second thing we recommend is using content delivery network, which means if a user is loading your page, all the information from your page is loaded from the nearest available server so that the time is not high. Another way to resolve this is by making sure that you optimize everything that is available on your page. So you optimize your images, you optimize your content, you do not have a lot of unused JavaScript, and this is where it becomes a lot technical. What's happening nowadays is a lot of websites are built on single page application because that's easier to do. A lot of websites, agree on a theme from WordPress and download that theme and work on it. But what the threat that it basically brings is those themes come with a lot of unused JavaScript, a lot of unused technicalities that you will not need on your website. So, largest contentful paint basically uh, is is the impact that your site will have if you do not have these things optimized. So, if I want to summarize, you want to make sure that you work with your developer and the agency so that the actual meaningful content loads first and then everything else loads on your website. And that's how you will have a faster, largest contentful paint and a very memorable user experience.
Sounds good, Deepak. So, if Amazon can deliver a product in 2 days, a brand should be able to deliver content in 2 seconds. We'll come back to you with more questions about the second metric in the next episode.